few days ago I made a video responding to a user called Propaganda Buster, and I'm going to be doing that again today. I didn't intend to, I was going to leave that video as it was. However, I saw a video that was more recent today and I simply had to respond. Take it away now, you gormless little troll.
The topic of this video happens to deal with our friends across the pond.
Friends being used in the most broadest term possible, I assume.
Our friends and allies.
I'm not an ally of yours, Sunshine, and I never will be.
In the United Kingdom.
Don't kiss my arse and put that flag up there, you little twat.
Yeah! Hail Britannia! And all that other good stuff.
All the other good stuff, oh blow me.
There was a political party in the United Kingdom called the BNP.
Part of me is amazed you can fucking spell that.
The British National Party. Many people say that that party is an extreme right-wing group.
No, they are an extreme right-wing group, regardless of what anybody, including them, will tell you.
Which expresses hate.
No, it doesn't actually. I'm going to disagree with you then. It's actually very clever in not expressing hate. In fact, it cloaks its language very, very carefully to make sure that it doesn't express hate, because if it did, it wouldn't be allowed to be a political party in this country.
I'm not going to discuss that because I'm not familiar with the particulars of that political party.
Even though you just showed a screenshot of their website and clearly you know something about them in order to get that, you could have done a bit of research to find something out, even if it was biased, even if it was completely and utterly one-sided. But no, you don't know enough about that, do you?
What this video is about the head of that political party, a gentleman by the name of Nick Griffin.
Old Wonky Eye, as we call him.
Recently, Mr. Griffin was invited to take part in a discussion panel on a BBC television show called Question Time.
And thankfully for the rest of us, he made a complete cunt of himself.
Well,
is this to pad out your videos?
In the United Kingdom, where many people protested.
They were just like those Muslim guys we were talking about the other day. And again, they have the right to do it.
Now, I'm going to show you some photographs of those protesters. Please pay particular attention to the signs, not so much for what they read, but so much for how they were printed and the construction of them.
Yeah, don't read them, because God forbid you should actually try and get some detail into this. Just look at the fucking sign itself. Can someone please explain to me why this gonk has put some fucking bagpipe music over the top? Sorry, I'm changing the music again.
Your butt with a coconut. 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 Up your butt with a coconut. 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 Up your butt with a coconut.
Just someone's got a fucking Mohican. God, is that unusual over there? I'm glad this is funny to you.
I apologize for that last photograph.
Why? You put it in there.
But did you notice those signs?
Yeah, I did. There was lots of them. Lots of them. Lots of them.
They were not handwritten spontaneously by a group of people to get involved in that protest.
No, they weren't, were they?
They were pre-planned and pre-printed professionally.
That's what you do when you're trying to sort of have an organisation. You don't just get Glenn Beck to fucking spout a load of nonsense, say we'll be meeting here on 9/12, and then a load of people turn up with pictures of Obama covered in a fucking Hitler moustache.
Who paid for that?
If you had done 2 minutes of fucking research, maybe gone on Google and typed in anti-BNP protesters BBC, you'd realise that the majority of the people who turned up at that event were from the UAF. It's a group called the United Against Fascism. They're an organisation that was set up specifically to keep people aware of groups and organisations and political ideologies held by certain parties that may or may not be considered to be fascist. You can go on their website, uaf.org, and you can find many news articles in papers like The Telegraph, The Mirror, The Guardian, The Times, The Mail, explaining quite clearly who this group are.
Who planned that?
Who planned that? That would be the UAF. This is the organisation who organised the fucking protest. If you go onto their website, you can go onto their download section, and they've actually got files which you can download and print up yourself. They will be funded by their own members and charitable donations. Or people can just download the designs and get them printed up themselves. It's what you do when you're trying to organise some sort of uniformed gathering. It's not unusual.
I wonder. I have no idea who, but it's a question that I think one should explore.
I did. It took me 30 seconds. You can do it yourself. Go on their fucking website, you lazy little gonk.
I wonder.
Why? What's suspicious about it? What is unusual about it? What is in any way slightly worrying or concerning that these people have got professionally made signs that actually, whilst professionally made, can be done reasonably cheaply if done in bulk?
The complaints against this gentleman, Nick Griffin, happened to be, at one time, he denied that the Holocaust ever happened. Well, that's pretty stupid to deny that.
My God, we actually agree on something. You're right. He did at one time deny the Holocaust.
He recanted it later on.
Actually, that's not completely true. He didn't recant it later on. What he did say was he changed his mind, but he didn't say what he changed it to. I'll give you a bit of a clue. This is what his original position was on the Holocaust from a TV show called The Cook Report.
Also say the Holocaust didn't happen, don't you?
What do you mean by the Holocaust?
The massacre of millions of Jews.
There's no doubt that hundreds,
And you would like to...
probably thousands of Jews were shot to death in Eastern Europe because they were rightly or wrongly seen as communists or potential partisans or partisan supporters. That was awful. But this nonsense about gas chambers is exposed as a total lie.
And this is Nick Griffin, very recently on the Question Time programme, being asked about Holocaust denial.
Any more than I can tell you why I've changed my mind, I can't tell you the extent to which I've changed my mind, because European law...
This is rubbish.
Because European law prevents
this is rubbish.
so.
You see, he doesn't actually say what it is he's changed it to. And he uses this bullshit excuse that there are laws preventing him. There's a bit of a problem with him using that excuse, and that is that one of the guys sitting opposite him has got a bit of a bomb to drop for him.
And we refused a European arrest warrant on precisely this from a country that does require Holocaust denial to be an offence, and we refused that.
And as a Justice Minister, I promise you, if you want to explain why you don't believe it...
Yes, you see, the European laws don't affect us in the UK. He is more than free to express his opinions on the Holocaust, regardless of what they are, but yet he still decided not to. That makes him a Holocaust denier. Holocaust denial is not necessarily the denial that it happened. It's the denial of enough aspects of it that you hope to try and break down the entire event piece by piece.
He was in a photograph with KKK member Ku Klux Klan from the United States, a person by the name of David Duke.
Wrong again. He wasn't just in a photo with him. He actually went and spoke at one of their fucking rallies. He gave a fucking speech to the KKK. If you don't believe me, here's video footage of it actually happening. And listen to what he says in it.
Nick Griffin spoke at a private meeting of white nationalists in Texas. We've obtained a video of the speech. Beside Mr. Griffin sat David Duke. Mr. Duke is a former leader of the Ku Klux Klan, an organisation with a violent history of lynchings and murders of blacks. Nick Griffin confided in his right-wing audience that he and his party had a new strategy to sell their ideas to the British people.
There's a difference between selling out your ideas and selling your ideas. And the British National Party isn't about selling out its ideas, which are your ideas too, but we are determined now to sell them. And that means basically to use these saleable words, as I say, freedom, security, identity, democracy. Nobody can criticise them. Nobody can come at you and attack you on those ideas. They are saleable. Perhaps one day, once by being rather more subtle, we've got ourselves in a position where we control the British broadcasting media, then perhaps one day the British people might change their mind and say, yes, every last one must go. Perhaps they will one day. But if you hold it out as your sole aim to start with, you're going to get absolutely nowhere. So, instead of talking about racial purity, talk about identity.
Our values, your values. We don't say racial purity, we say identity. Nick Griffin even had the gall to try and fucking rationalise this meeting with David Duke by pointing out that the KKK were a non-violent organisation. Like that makes it any better.
Well, that was stupid also.
You're getting on the ball now.
But here's what I have to say to you, Mr. Griffin. If it's created so much controversy there for you in the United Kingdom, come to the United States.
Yes, please, Nick. Mr. Griffin, please, take this guy's advice. Fuck off to America.
Yeah!
Yes, you want to go see him, didn't you?
You see, in the United States Senate, which is our equivalent to your House of Lords...
No, there is no equivalent to the House of Lords in America. The equivalent to the Senate would be the Houses of Parliament. The Houses of Lords is a fucking old folks' home filled up with booze and pissed up fucking rich bastards.
There's a Democratic senator who was a grand poobah, a grand wizard. He was some high official.
Details are fucking astounding here.
in the KKK here in the United States, and his name is Senator Robert Byrd.
That's actually completely true, yes. There is a Democratic senator called Robert Byrd who was, in his younger days, a member of the Ku Klux Klan. The exact position he was elected to was called Exalted Cyclops, whatever the fuck that is.
And he's a prominent member of the current day Democratic Party.
You're right, he is a prominent member. But let's look at some of the things he said here, shall we? And I'm a bit curious to know why you were so quick to point out that Nick Griffin has recanted his Holocaust denial, but you didn't point out the countless times that Robert Byrd has recanted and denounced his youth in his times in the Ku Klux Klan. Here's one of the many times he has recanted it. In 1997, in an interview, he said, I know now that I was wrong. Intolerance had no place in America. I apologised 1,000 times, and I don't mind apologising 1,000 times over and over again. I can't erase what happened. And to compare this guy to Nick Griffin is somewhat ludicrous when you consider this guy in 2004 was given a 100% approval rating by the NAACP. He also put forward a proposal of $10 million to go towards a Martin Luther King memorial. And yes, while there are certain questions raised about his opinions and his beliefs towards race relations still, the fact is this guy did as much as you could to try and prove that he was no longer that way inclined. He was also one of the biggest voices in the Democratic Party speaking out against the 2003 invasion of Iraq. He was also the leader of a filibuster against the 2002 law that created the Department of Homeland Security. To compare this guy to Nick Griffin is like comparing a guy who used to smoke a bit of pot when he was at college but since hasn't touched the stuff to Pete Doherty. And I want to know, why are you so keen to compare him to a Democratic senator? Why not compare him to any members of the Republican Party? Who's someone who is part of the Republican Party still? Someone like, I don't know, Randy Gray, who is a outspoken, prominent member of the Ku Klux Klan. He is a racist activist who in 2008 became elected as a precinct delegate in Michigan for the Republican Party. Why are you not bringing this up? I'll tell you why. It's because you're a duplicitous, lying little shit, that's why. And I've held back for a long time on speaking about the BNP. Because I'm aware, like many fringe groups, on YouTube I have a big presence here. And they don't mind harassing people. Well, I'm sick of it now. I'm no longer being quiet. I don't give a fuck. And I will not allow some gormless little prat who knows nothing about what he's dealing with to laugh off someone like Nick Griffin, a Holocaust-denying, racist, bigoted little shit, simply to try and push your own agenda. However, I would like to say I do agree with you on this bit you said at the end of the video.
You see, I think it was good he's on television, because in a healthy republic, it allows the people to hear his views and hear his opinions. And then you can either say, oh, you stupid, or you can say, well, I agree with him. There should be nothing wrong with the healthy exchange of ideas to be aired on the public airways, providing he's not promoting violence.
You're right. People should be able to choose. People should be presented with the full facts and details and arguments and be allowed to make their own decisions. My question to you, Propaganda Buster, is why did you choose to not do that in your video? Fuck you. Fuck the BNP. Fuck your bigotry. Fuck your bias and prejudice.
That our country must remain fundamentally a British and Christian country. Christian country. Christian country. Christian country.
Richard the Dick Coughlin, 666, good night. May God be led.
This is my end, and it's fine. It's where I spend the vast majority of my time. It's not perfect, but it's mine. It's not perfect.
It's all part of the plan.